Hello, my name is Dante Vernay, and welcome to the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more. Like tonight's film, this is 1985's The Ribald Tales of Canterbury. Right there, The Ribald Tales of Canterbury, Hyapatia Lee's The Ribald Tales of Canterbury. And this is a DVD. This was also released on Blu-ray on a 5 movie set from Vinegar Syndrome, but this is released from Vinegar Syndrome and with a beautiful cover here. And this DVD copy has an extra film, Hyapatia Lee's Tasty, which I'll be looking at in the future on this YouTube page, as well as audio commentary and interview. So the DVD has some great special features. The Ribald Tales of Canterbury, 1985, and the really interesting thing, directed by Bud Lee, I believe Hypatia's husband, and she wrote the screenplay for the Ribald Tales of Canterbury and inspired by Canterbury Tales. So, classic literature. And so very interesting, just very, very interesting just to see that, Bud Lee, same last name, and husband and her, doing the writing. Now, in this particular film, she plays the hostess. And when you watch the trailer for this film, she's talking directly at you, which you do see a lot in X-rated cinema for trailers when an actress in the film or an actor in the film, primarily actresses, will look right at the camera and tell you about the movie that will be coming out soon. And but for the film itself, she plays a hostess. And there's a group of travelers, and there's a game, and there's storytelling, and there's a journey on horseback. And I have to tell you, this movie, I mean, if there were ever doubts in anybody's heads on what a sex film, what a hardcore sex film could be, wow. I mean, from the unbelievable cinematography with locations in this film to obviously the period piece costumes and just the costumes, the music in this film. We have a theme song that has a real Renaissance fare about it. You have the strings and the flutes and the but also throughout the film, of course, we have some violins, we have some strings throughout, but then we also have some electronic Renaissance-like music that almost reminded me to the music in classic 80s Nintendo games. So very interesting with that. I will tell you that Hyapatia has a few sex scenes in this film. We have unbelievable sex scenes in this film. I mean, they are mostly driven by the storytelling in the film, which almost makes it like an anthology film, but they're travelers are telling stories to each other, and there will be a winner. And there's also romance in this film, and while the sex scenes are unbelievable in here, really, really just hot and wild, there's also a sex scene in this film that is very intensely romantic as well as being hot in that whole mix. And we have Colleen Brennan in here as well. You're going to recognize a lot of faces in here. The guys' faces you're going to recognize as well. A lot of the women in this film I did not recognize, but all of the women look amazing in this film. Colleen Brennan is in here, and she has... I gotta tell you, I've seen her in a lot of stuff, like Tobalina's stuff. This is probably one of the most intense Colleen Brennan sex scenes I've ever seen. I'm thinking it's probably one of the most intense. She is just wild in that scene. Now, what's so interesting is that we have a variety of people on horseback, a variety of different travelers here. We have a monk who there's a lot of kind of humor with him, with him trying to be moralistic in the film. We have a drunkard, and just different class levels of people, and representing kind of the society of this old time life. Very much like classic literature, Canterbury Tales. Now, the actual stories, I haven't read. I mean, I probably did in some form or fashion in school, but I don't really remember Canterbury Tales too much. So, but one thing I can say is that these stories in this film that they're telling each other, and of course we then go into those stories, are quite complex in their storylines. If anybody was ever saying, the stories in sex films, okay, so they have stories in the golden age, big freaking deal. The stories are so simple and they suck. If you watch Ribald Tales of Canterbury, you're gonna see these stories are actually quite complex and have different levels to them, and I'm actually so stupid that it was some of the stories were too fast for me, and probably too complex for me, but really, really interesting stuff. We have a girl dressing as a guy. In one of the stories, we have a mother and her daughter and the mother's drunk husband, and we have people trying to steal money from people, shortchanging them. We have a double affair, which links to kind of stolen land or getting land back. We have, in one of the wildest ones to me, a gypsy in love with two men, and conjuring up the devil. So we have these elements here. There's some wild stuff in these stories, and beautiful cinematography. So you get the DVD and you get the special features and the extra film, tasty. But then you get the Blu-ray, and my gosh, does the Blu-ray for this film look unbelievable. But this is a film that has lots of detail, even kind of a twist ending, and two real heavy hitter sex scenes at the end of the film. And we really do allow the sex scenes to breathe in this film as well, which I love. We have a variety of angles, focuses on oral sex in particular, both sides, and we even have some oral anal play in this film as well. Interracial. There's a lot of different stuff here, and Hyapatia Lee has a group of sex scenes in this film that are great, including a lesbian scene. So this is the Ribald Tales of Canterbury. Look at the back here. You got a knight. You got the food hall, where everybody is eating their turkey legs and piles of fruit everywhere. I'm not a period piece type of person, but when it has an edge. Of course, this is an X-rated film. Of course it does. When it is, when they're super violent or very edgy or very sexual or very weird or surrealistic, then I'll like them. But if they're just straight played and very, very sophisticated, highbrow, and everybody would love them and they would get an Oscar, I'm probably not going to like them. The Ribald Tales of Canterbury is a real, Renaissance period piece type of film with straight right across the board for all 89 minutes, unbelievable sex scenes in this movie. So there is the cover right there, and really, really something, I got to tell you. Really something else. And Hyapatia plays violin in this film. I don't know if she's actually playing that piece, and also dancing. I know she was multi-talented, and so there's a lot of stuff going on in here. There's this one scene where she has a braid, where she just looks amazing. I love Hyapatia Lee, and I have more videos for her films coming up on this YouTube page in the future. So there it is, 1985's Ribald Tales of Canterbury. Thank you so much for watching the 10 room. Wait a minute, I have one more thing to say. Oh, yeah. Not only is it a period piece, they're even in tune with the language and even the accents in this film as well. And even the dirty talk is in the world of the Renaissance and the period piece. So, pretty wild stuff. 1985's Ribald Tales of Canterbury. Thank you so much for watching the 10 Room Bizarro YouTube page where I talk about films that I believe need to be talked about more, like this film. Please feel free to check out my own personal films at youtube.com/poopy diarrhea. That's POOPY diarrhea. Thank you so much and good night.